Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle, me, in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. Well, I have a new number, series number, book review 250. Wow. Since September 2013, I've been making these videos in the series Freemasonry and Satanism, trying to figure out what the heck, WTH, is going on in our reality. What are we to believe? So in series 72, I made a series of videos on the New Testament of the Bible. I guess the Bible for the Christians. A lot of Jewish people say that the Old Testament applies to them and the New Testament does not. They are exempt from the New Testament. So I've read in numerous places. I don't believe God, whatever God, whoever God is, has two separate rules for different peoples. I think all people all over the planet are spiritual beings in these biological bodies. And without a doubt, God, whatever God is, sent prophets, call them shamans, doctors, philosophers, communicated to peoples on this planet since the beginning, trying to give instructions to humanity on how to behave, on how to live. So this particular video is on the Old Testament. I've been watching some different videos and some questions have arisen, and I've been reading some books lately, pondering which video I should make next. It's been a week or so before I've made a video. And it does take a little time to ponder and think and say, okay, since 2013, September, I've been making videos, over 600 of them published on YouTube, 700, 800, 900 hours, I don't know. And so what am I to think? And we see all this craziness going on in the world now. And a lot of people don't know what to make of it. Deborah Travers and Dane Wigington and Richie from Boston and David Icke and Alex Jones and so many people, Anonymous and Q, Lisa Haven, and on and on. I can't name everybody. But, you know, some of them appear to be trying to help us, while others may be trying to deceive us. A lot of accusations out there. Who is who? Obviously, it seems like they're trying to convince us that this world requires a global government, a global religion, a global world order, fulfilling some kinds of prophecy about a coming Antichrist and microchipping people, the mark of the beast, 666. And we've seen so much symbolism out there. So again, it does boggle the mind. Accusations of weather control, weather warfare, technologies used to burn houses and forests, causing earthquakes, and so much more. Again, I ask, what are we to believe? It certainly seems, and I think people watching my videos, or even people who probably don't know anything about this alternate news, Yahoo, YouTube information, but the government's propaganda and deception, apparently we the people, most of us, don't have a clue as to the truth of our reality. Again, it boggles the mind. So I do take the time out once in a while when I make these videos and try to sit back and say, what have I been doing? What does it mean? And the Israel the Sanhedrin, the leader of the religious leaders of Israel and part of their government, have requested from the U.S. government to pass legislation making it illegal, punishment by imprisonment or even death, to commit heresy, the Noahide laws, or to speak detrimentally, offensively against the Jewish state of Israel or the Zionists and all their activities. We're not to talk about those things. And this is all verifiable. It's seriously, to me, concerning all the things I've just talked about. I did just get this in the mail. I get these every month ever since I sent a letter requesting their catalog of all of the videos they have and books and other materials they sell. Toolsforfreedom.com. Knowledge is power. 69 new items in this catalog. This is the 2019 Volume 1 edition. Universal Basic Income. Free money for every man, woman, and child, or a monitored and controlled citizenry. And of course, we see the all-seeing eye and the people and the pyramid. A universal basic income card. Look at the chip on the card. Will universal basic income replace Social Security benefits in 2022? So there is a lot of crazy propaganda out there, and so I thought I'd just look at this before I read from the Old Testament of the Bible, the book of the prophet Jeremiah. I've been reading it for about a week before I could decide to make the video. It is some interesting, bizarre stuff to try to read the Old Testament. I never bothered with it because as a Christian who believed that Jesus was real and was sent by the God world, spirit world, to teach some new teachings or laws to humanity, even added a commandment that we are to love one another. So to me that made sense, knowing what we all know about world wars and revolution and kingdoms destroyed and masses and millions and billions of people throughout the centuries murdered and robbed and killed and tortured and so much more. There does seem to be some evil existing in our reality. And I think until people come to grips with that, admit that, and make a mental decision to do something about that, we're all going to continue to be in this floundering world, floundering boat, maybe a ship that's going to sink. I mean, the propaganda and all the threats and terrorism and climate change and global warming and polar vortexes and forest fires and all this craziness just continues and continues. And leaders of the United States and the world have said that as soon as all we people believe their propaganda and know nothing about the truth of reality, when that happens, they will have succeeded. They do plan on this global world order, this new world order, this new age, and they are trying to destroy people who believe in Christianity and family values, bringing us transgenderism and pansexual activities and diluting our cultures and dumbing down America. We all heard these terms. So my videos have been on various topics, from UFO and aliens to remote viewing, the military, the government's controlling people so they could leave their bodies and spy on other people, even attack other people, take over people's bodies so they kill themselves or kill other people. Think about that. Imagine somebody's trained as a remote viewer and they leave their body sitting in some kind of isolation room in America or London or in Russia, and they're in a trance, and they leave their body. Their spirit just flies away and goes into some nuclear submarine and takes over the physical body of the captain, possesses them, and starts World War III. Could it happen? According to my research, it could. According to my research, possession's on the rise all over the world. Plug it into your search engine on your computer. Google, Yahoo, possession on the rise in Italy, Ireland, China, South America, Ohio, wherever. Print out a lot of that stuff and read it. See what you believe. When I read from the Old Testament here, and the book of the prophet Jeremiah, notice the coincidences. See what you believe. Go watch my series, part 8 or 9 book reviews on series number 72 on the New Testament of the Bible. Page for page, word for word. I made a video. So anyways, I got this in the mail the other day, just to show you all of the information that's out there. So they got this idea of a global world order, and they're going to promise people, go along with this. We're going to give you this little card with a chip in it. Universal basic income. It says Joseph Sheeple here. And then, of course, other people on YouTube who are making videos and have websites, even Q and Anonymous, etc., are talking about this coming global revolution, if you want to call it, or global government action, if you want to call it, where they have a bunch of indictments, all sealed indictments, and they've been taking out the cabal leaders, and they're suggesting that when all this happens, that we're supposed to sit home and protect our family, stock up on some water and some food, be prepared, trust the military, the police, and your government, who is going to extract all these evil dudes and dudettes from our society. I just have a hard time believing that. But that's just me. Get my glasses on straight. So I don't mean to go on and on, but when I read from this book, this conversation might make sense. So here I am looking at this magazine, and the John Kennedy conspiracy, the New World Order video you can buy, the Deep State Exposed, Blowback, the U.S. recruitment of Nazis, Israeli-Russian espionage. So, like I said, a lot of people are aware of this stuff. Hidden history, characteristics of Rh negative blood types, dangerous liaisons, Israel, the U.S., Mossad, and the CIA, secret underground bases and the New World Order, Agenda 2030, propaganda, goals decoded, our occultic history, the deep state behind it all, why the U.S. is the biggest threat to world peace, how Vietnam would have been a very different if John F. Kennedy were not killed. Babylon Mystery School series, Bill Cooper. Babylon Mystery School series, exposing the military bases, secrets of the U.S. Empire, what is under the Denver International Airport, the fascist plot that almost overthrew Franklin Delano Roosevelt, depopulation, government's war on humanity exposed. So it isn't just on YouTube where you can get all the videos on all the topics. This magazine is free. So if you write to them and you go online to toolsforfreedom.com and you ask for the magazine for free, no credit card or anything, and if you don't buy anything, at least you have 99 pages of topics that you can look up on your computer. Crazy U.S. government taking steps to start war against Russia and China. So, if anything else, this magazine is a nice little guide onto topics. If you're not awake and you're not aware of all this deception going on, a conspiracy to bring about a global government. And when I said conspiracy, I didn't say theory. Apparently it's conspiracy fact. 99 pages, hundreds, if not a couple thousand different videos and books you can order from this catalog, Tools for Freedom. So, it does appear, to summarize what I've just said, there seems to be some strange things going on in our world. What is the truth? I think I'm going to bring some light to that when I read from the Old Testament on the book of Jeremiah. The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priest that were in Anathoth, in the land of Benjamin. Sorry, I'm not good with these words. To whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Joshua, the son of Arman, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Joachim, however you say that guy's name, the son of Joshua, king of Judah, that would be Israel today, until the end of the 11th year of the Zedekiah, son of Joshua, king of Judah, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. So what happened back then? Who is Jeremiah? What's in the Old Testament? And I always thought about eventually getting to read the Old Testament. I've been trying to finish reading the New Testament. And I've made videos, Series 72, on about the first 8 or 9 books in the New Testament. I'm looking at it here. I made book reviews on Romans, Series 10, Acts. This is the New Testament, all the videos. So 10 or more, Series 72, on the New Testament, St. John, St. Luke, St. Mark, St. Matthew. So, and then Revelation, the last book of the New Testament, Series 224. So maybe someday I'll have videos on the entire Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. And apparently the New Testament begins with Christianity and is basically the teachings of Jesus Christ during his years of ministering and teaching. And apparently it gives a new covenant to mankind. And one of the biggest things that Jesus said, he died on the cross so that our sins could be forgiven. And if we want to be saved, we need to believe in him. And I think at some point, you know, it comes with a little intention of trying to be a decent person, treat other people fairly. And like Jesus taught, we are to love one another. So that's 2,000 years of Christianity. And now, of course, we're changing astrological constellations. We're leaving the age of Pisces, which is the little fishes, to the age of Aquarius. It's a new age. And I guess each age has some kind of philosophical, maybe lesson for humanity. So the last 2,000 years was Jesus' teachings, which apparently it was a failure on a lot of people to love one another. Not all people. We've all seen the movies with the happy little villagers and then the invading hordes or armies coming in destroying everybody. So there's always been this good and evil. So what's going to happen with the age of Aquarius? And apparently they're coinciding with this new world order, new age, global world order. What do they have planned? What did the Bible say? What's in the Old Testament? Which apparently is exactly what it means and says. It's the Old Testament. It's not supposed to apply to us. But apparently, according to what I've read, a lot of Jewish peoples say, no. The Old Testament still applies to us. We're exempt from the New Testament. They also said, I was listening to a rabbi the other day, and I've seen this in many places, that we have never accepted Jesus Christ as the Savior. We never will accept him. And for those Christians who refuse to give him up, well, it'll be on them. I suppose that was a threat. Crazy, the whole conversation. But I'm trying to figure it out. And then we've seen all this other stuff. Alex Jones sneaking into the Bohemian Grove in California, where all the elites go and plot our future, the government and secret societies, presidents and senators and other people. Kissinger have been photographed there. Bohemian Grove, they have a giant owl. They throw a baby in a fire called the cremation of care. And then in New York City, in London, and later on I found out through UNESCO they were going to put 1,000 archways of Baal all over the world, archways to the devil. Moloch throw babies into the fire. A couple demons. So who are these demons? And are they mentioned in the book of Jeremiah that I'm about to read? And the answer is, yes, they are. So who is Baal? Who is Moloch? Why is it in the Bible? And why are they having these secret societies meet at these Moloch statues and putting these archways of Baal, the devil, in New York and London and 1,000 other cities from UNESCO, the Science and Education Department of the United Nations, at our expenses? It just seems kind of weird. This stuff is real. So let me read from the New Testament. And just being aware, you can go get something like this for free. Go online, toolsforfreedom.com. Fill in the little form, and they'll send you this. All these different videos you can buy about your health. Or about the power of copper for boosting your health and detoxing. And California fires caused by directed energy weapons. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Get my camera to focus there. 13 types of chemtrail aerosols destroying your health. Strange and inexplicable things happening around the world. Human meat found in fast food and commercial meats. So if you get this free magazine, it comes from Hawaii. Certainly you can go look up on YouTube some of these topics. Have a nice little speedy guide to your own personal education. Because if you go by the recommendations of YouTube and other internet-controlled organizations and sites, they're going to feed you what they want to feed you. Is that what we want? No, we want to know what's really going on. And why is it that we spiritual beings are in this reality to begin with all this evil that's going on? Does God have a purpose? And I believe he does. I believe we're spiritual beings. And as a lot of the philosophers or speakers will say, we chose to be here at this time. And as it says in the Bible, seek and ye shall find, ask and ye shall receive. So I think raising our consciousness getting this magazine or going on YouTube, making some kind of directory, making a list of all my videos, and go on my Rick Miracle YouTube and go look up videos and whatever kind of material. Keep some kind of notebook so you look into the different topics about the wildfires, the weather control, UFO, aliens, CERN, remote viewing, ghosts, angels, biblical information, Zionism, Kabbalism, Satanism, Freemasonryism, Illuminati-isms, and all these other isms, sorcery. It's a plethora of information, and I think it's urgent we pay attention, especially with the installation of all the microwave transmission systems. And I've got some new material. They're putting 20,000 microwave transmitter satellites in orbit. I don't think we're going to need a microwave oven pretty soon to cook food. We'll just have to set it on the counter, and the microwaves in the air will cook it while it's cooking us. So it seems. All right, let me read from the book of Prophet Jeremiah and see if I can make a few things clearer about Moloch, the owl demon being they throw babies into the fire to in Bohemian Grove. And a lot of secret societies have it as their symbol. And Baal, the devil, got to feed humans to it, sacrifices. Well, did you ever want to know about Jewish people? The Jewish religion, Jewish history? And is it intertwined with the rest of us? And if Adam and Eve were really two characters from ancient times that were the begetters of the human race, then we're all related. And interestingly enough, the first murderer was the first son of Adam and Eve, Cain. And apparently Adam and Eve had a second son, Abel, and Cain was jealous of Abel and slew him. So Adam and Eve had a third son, Seth, and apparently the human race is descended from Cain, the first murderer, and of course Abel was killed, Cain and Abel, and Seth. So the human race came from either Seth, or Cain, the murderer. So could it be some spiritual component that a portion of the lineage DNA that came from Cain, the murderer, are just naturally evil, and the people who came from Adam and Eve and Seth are followers of God and are naturally good? And I get that from the Rosicrucian teachings, who said that when God created the earth, the first creature he put on here was Lucifer, or Satan, Lucifer. And to have Lucifer have a companion, he created Eve. And they had a child named Cain. So that means Cain would have been from Lucifer, a divine being. Well, anyways, after Lucifer had this relationship with Eve and bore Cain, he got bored with earth and went back into the heavens. He abandoned Eve and the baby. So what does that make him and the family? So God, according to the Rosicrucians now, felt sorry for Eve and the son that was left behind, half human, half divine, because Eve was made from the clay of the earth. And Lucifer was, or Sataniel, I guess the Rosicrucians call him, long for Satan. So then God made Adam, and then they had a child, Abel, who was human and human. And so Cain, who was human and divine, he killed Abel. So Adam and Eve, human and human, had Seth. So apparently we humans are derived from two different lineages, one from the semi-divine Cain, the murderer, and then Seth, human and human. So is that true according to the Rosicrucian teachings? So I've been studying all these different aspects, trying to gain some insight into WTH, what the heck is going on. So would this Lucifer or Sataniel or Satan, would this have been a predecessor, before the other demon gods, Moloch and Baal? And it seems that starts to be part of the story. When you take 6,000 or 7,000 years, during the course of time, the different civilization called these evil beings different names as you get closer to today. But it started out back here with Sataniel or Satan and Lucifer or Baal and Moloch and as many other names, Baalim and maybe Osiris and Ra. So if you hear all these different names, apparently it's these divine demonic beings who are trying to act like gods on earth, and apparently in some ways control a lot of the secret societies and so-called divine leaders of our reality, the people who, these kings and queens and barons and princesses, who say they have a divine right to rule the world. Are they descendants from Lucifer, Sataniel, Satan, followers of demons like Moloch and Baal? And did God continue to warn the people, especially the Jewish people, not to be worshiping and practicing these religions, sacrificing humans to these beings? Is it in the Bible here? Should we believe the Bible? If you're going to believe anything, I would suggest it's a good place to start versus maybe some comic books or some fictitious UFOs and aliens or books like this that they started coming out with after World War II and even before that. What are we seeing? And what about the ancient history of Earth, Atlantis, and the warnings given to Noah prior to the Great Flood? Why would God have destroyed most of the human race? In other words, to start all over again, because apparently remnants of the human race were saved all over the world. Did you know that? Ecuador, they have all these caves. Eric Van Daniken, the Gold of the Gods, and the Hopi Indians, Frank Waters' book, some kind of beings went to them and helped them dig tunnels so they would survive the Great Flood. Romania, all over the world, remnants of the human race were warned and assisted so that some of them would survive. Isn't that interesting? And of course we have all the monuments that seem to date past the Great Flood, and there's plenty of evidence of tribes all over the world describing the Great Flood. So in my mind, there's probably very little doubt that there was a Great Flood. And I happen to live in the mountains of North Carolina, and I've been out to the Rocky Mountains, so I can tell you there certainly have been great upheavals on this planet. And if there is a divine world who brings all this about, it makes you wonder what is the method and the madness for all this existence, but there must be a reason. And I think Jesus' teachings that we should love one another for the past 2,000 years was a good philosophy to follow, but apparently it wasn't part of our leaders' philosophy. There's a lot of we the people were slaughtered and tortured and treated really poorly, suffered for a couple thousand years. And it doesn't look like it's over. Looks like there's a big attempt to bring about a global world order with all these advanced technologies. So anyways, page 537, chapter 32, series 250, part 1. So I've been reading this. There's 42 pages to Jeremiah, quite a few pages. So these are 2 pages here. So there's 42 of those, and I'm up to 537 past that. So I only have about 12 more pages to finish. So I've read about 30-something pages, and I came to the portion I wanted to talk about. Kind of a little bit of a learning thing about who are the Jewish people, what is their history, and what did God tell them not to do? And what are we seeing in our reality now? So anyways, prophets. We all know what prophets are. Some kind of people who get communicated by spiritual beings, angels, or God, or whatever. And they come here to tell these selected individuals things that God wants us to know. And are there false prophets? And I've been reading this Jeremiah, and apparently there are plenty of people that are false prophets. It talks about it in the book of Jeremiah. So little bit by little bit, I'm learning about the people called Jews and their history. So chapter 32. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord in the 10th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. I'm saying it wrong. I'll try to get it right. Nebuchadnezzar. Apparently he was the king of Babylon. So you have so far with this first 3 sentences, you have the kingdom of Judea, the Jews, and the kingdom of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. For then the king of Babylon's army besieged Jerusalem. So the Babylonian army was surrounding Jerusalem. And Jeremiah the prophet was shut up in the court of the prison, which was the king of Judah's house. So Jeremiah, apparently the prophet, delivering a message from the Lord, was locked up in prison. For Zedekiah, king of Judah, had shut him up, saying, Wherefore dost thou prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. So the king of Judah locked up the Jeremiah the prophet, because he said the Lord has delivered a message that the king of Babylon is coming to take control of Judea. And Zedekiah, king of Judah, shall not escape out of the hand of the Chaldeans, but shall surely be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon, and shall speak with him mouth to mouth, and his eyes shall behold his eyes. And he shall lead Zedekiah to Babylon, and there shall he be until I visit him, saith the Lord. Though ye fight with the Chaldeans, ye shall not prosper. So the Lord is delivering through the prophet Jeremiah that the Babylonian military is coming to Judah, now called Israel, and that the king and the Jewish people are going to be taken away to Babylonia as prisoners. And the king of Judah is asking Jeremiah, why are you saying these things? I'm paraphrasing some of this to put it in our common language. And Jeremiah said, The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Behold, Hanamel, the son of Shallum, thine uncle, shall come unto thee, saying, Buy thee my field, that it is Anthot, for the right of redemption is thine to buy it. Whatever that's about. So Hanamel, mine uncle's son, came to me in the court of the prison, according to the word of the Lord, and said unto me, Buy my field, I pray thee. This is in Anthot, which is in the country of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is thine, and redemption is thine. Buy it for thyself. Then I knew that this was the word of the Lord. So he's kind of proven himself for some reason here. But it gets a little bit more interesting. And I bought the field from Hanamel, my uncle's son, that was in Anthot, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver. And I subscribed the evidence and sealed it, and took witnesses and weighed him the money in the balances. So we have a purchase of land here. So I took the evidence of the purchase, both that which was sealed according to the law and custom, and that which was open. And I gave the evidence of the purchase to Baruch. That was an interesting name to find. Because I think Baruch was the name of the guy who Woodrow Wilson put in charge of America during World War I. So we get a clue to who some of these people are by these names. So this is obviously a different Baruch. But they use these names over and over. So if you're studying this stuff, you can usually tell who somebody is by their name. I gave the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch, the son of Neri, the son of Misael, in the sight of Hanamel, my uncle's son, in the presence of the witnesses that subscribed the book of the purchase, before all the Jews that sat in the court of the prison. And I charged Baruch before them, saying, Thus saith the Lord host, the God of Israel, take this evidence of the purchase, both which is sealed, and this evidence which is open, and put them in their earthly vessel, that they may continue for many days. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall be possessed again in this land. Now then I had delivered the evidence of my purchase unto Baruch, the son of Neri. I prayed unto the Lord, saying, O Lord God, behold, thou hast made the heaven and the earth by the great power and stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for thee. So he's praying to the Lord, and he said, Ah, Lord God, behold, thou hast made the heaven and the earth by thy great power, and hast stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for thee. Thou showest loving kindness unto thousands, and recompense the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great and mighty God, the Lord of hosts is his name. Great in counsel, mighty in work, for thine eyes are open unto all the ways of the sons of men, and give everyone according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doings. So how many people believe that philosophy? We all get what we deserve. Which has set signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, even unto this day, and in Israel, among other men, hast made thee a name as this day, and hast brought forth thy people Israel out of the land of Egypt with signs, and with wonders, and with a strong hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with a great terror. So apparently the Lord, as we all know, with Moses and the plagues and all those things, to convince the Pharaoh, if you've seen the movie, to let my people go. And he delivered them into the land of Canaan and gave them these lands and some rules to follow. That's the key to the whole story. So he delivers them into Canaan, and later on, as you're going to see here, they did not follow or obey God's laws. So he's delivering the kingdom of Judea, now called Israel, into the hands of Babylon, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. And you got the prophet here, Jeremiah, getting the messages and the things involved here. And there is an important part of this story. We'll get to it. And hast given them this land, which thou dost swear to their fathers to give them, a land flowing with milk and honey. And they came in and possessed it, but they obeyed not thy voice. So that's what Jeremiah is saying here when he's talking to God. But they obeyed not thy voice, neither walked in thy law. They have done nothing of all of thou commandest them to do. Therefore hast thou caused all this evil to come unto them. I got to say that slowly again. He says to the Lord that they have not obeyed thy voice. They have not walked in the law. They have done nothing of all that thou had commandest them to do. Therefore, thou hast caused all this evil to come unto them. So the Lord, who delivered the Jews from Egypt, is now punishing them in the land that he delivered them to because they're not obeying his commandments. Behold the mounts. They come unto the city to take it. So the enemy from Babylon are on their way. And the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans. That'll be something like the Egyptians, that fight against it because of the sword and of the famine and of the pestilence, what thou hast spoken to come to pass, and behold, thou seest it. Now remember, this is chapter 32, so I've read all this pre-material, and it leads up to this story, but it has some important portions here I want to share that are relevant and readily observable in our current reality as to what parts of the problems are. And even with the people from Israel today, the leadership, the Sanhedrin, the religious leadership, the same leadership, by the way, that sentenced Jesus Christ to death, the leadership of the Jews, the Sanhedrin. And they're petitioning President Donald Trump and the United States Congress to pass legislation making it illegal to say negative things about the Jews or Israel, boycotting, and all this other stuff. In other words, we're not allowed to be talking about what's going on, these people behind the global world order. And I have a little bit of evidence of that here to share. Back to the book, page 538. And thou hast said unto me, O Lord God, buy thee the field for money, take witnesses for the city given into the hand of the Chaldeans. So apparently the Lord is behind the kingdom of Judea, now called Israel, being attacked by Nebuchadnezzar from Babylonia. And then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the Chaldeans, and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall take it. And the Chaldeans that fight against this city shall come and set fire to this city, and burn it with the houses. Upon the roofs they have offered incense unto Baal. Here we go with the important part of the story. So God is bringing all this about because they were worshiping Baal, B-A-A-L. Where have we heard that before recently? You're going to be surprised. And poured out drink offerings unto the gods, other gods, to provoke me to anger. So apparently God does not want we people worshiping these other gods and demons. I would say, duh, that makes sense to me. You'd have to be an idiot to be worshiping these demons, but apparently we have a lot of idiots on our planet. For the children of Israel and the children of Judah have only done evil before me from their youth. For the children of Israel have only provoked me to anger, and the work of their hands, saith the Lord. For this city hath been to me as a provocation of mine anger, and to my fury from the day they built it until this day, that I should remove it before my face. So God is going to destroy Jerusalem. the kingdom of Judea and have all the people taken into captivity to Babylon because they're worshiping Baal. So, I think we ought to take a break and look at some pictures to kind of find out who this Baal character is and how does that have anything to do with the reality we're in today. You're not going to believe this. So anyways, if you are paying attention, if you haven't, you can go look this stuff up. I advise people to have a notebook and a pen handy and take some notes, because you can verify everything you're about to see. It was in the newspapers. It was a big uproar about it. But apparently, they were putting this archway to Baal in New York and London. Pastor D, triumphant arch of Palmyra, Baal blood. So God is punishing the Jews back then, destroying Jerusalem and kingdom of Judea, and having the king of Babylonia, Nebuchadnezzar, kill a lot of the Jews and take the rest of them prisoners because they were worshiping Baal thousands of years ago. And today, a year or so ago, they were putting the archway of Baal in New York City, London, and later from UNESCO in 1,000 other cities all over the world. Here's some of those things. You can look all this up. This is very important. So why would today the people who control our world be putting up all these archways to Baal, Macedonia, Paris, Korea, USA? You can go watch this video. Lucifer, apotheosis, be as gods, and arches of Baal rising, New World Order. All these symbols, golden age, they're worshiping these beings. And it's in the Old Testament. Apparently, nearly 100 children attacked by contagious demonic possession. You can go watch this video. Must watch demonic possession outbreak. Over 100 victims. Are we being warned? Miley Cyrus in 2009 appeared in Family Guy as an android that is programmed to be a pop star, and in the end she dies. Family Guy has predicted so many celebrity deaths like Robin Williams, Paul Walker, Bruce Jenner becoming a woman, and now they predicted the death of Miley. Is she going to be a blood sacrifice for the 27 Club? Apparently, you got to make sacrifices to Baal and Moloch. And a lot of these people in Hollywood and in secret societies are in part of this satanic religion. Apollyon rising, Satan statue unveiled during largest public ceremony. So they're unveiling these satanic statues, and people, not like you and me, because I don't think you or I dress up like this, are part of these celebrations. People into this Baal worship, Moloch worship. And they're turning we the people into freaks all over the planet. And the people don't even know it. Even the royal families involved with their symbolism. Lucifer's apotheosis, be as gods, and arches of Baal. And apparently it's all about that we're gods. I am. They want people to believe you don't have to believe in God. You can worship Baal because you're a god too, because you are. All this symbolism that most people are not paying attention to. United Nations built on Lucifer's trust. Now Lucas trust. I've gone over all this stuff. New World Order. All religions built on Lucifer trust. This is who is building the arches of Baal. And apparently they're all involved. Even Madonna, the symbols. Don't believe in God, because listen, you are master of your own faith. Trying to get this to come into focus. And all these activities going on over there overseas right now. This is why they brought us 911. This is that statue. School teacher initiates students into Satanism. They've taken over our school system without a doubt. Remember, I'm talking about the archway of Baal in the Bible, the Old Testament. They're back. These evil people. They've probably been on the planet all along. But they're bringing us all this symbolism. Madonna dresses up if you see statues of Baal and all that. And the Super Bowl halftime shows with Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry. You can see this stuff over and over and over. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as righteousness. Somebody made a comment on one of my videos that I should go look up the joy of Satanism. And there actually is a website, Joy of Satanism, joyofsatan.com or something. And it actually preaches that Satan is really the good God and everybody's been deceived. And what surprises me is a lot of people believe that because they see that website and it says that. So they believe that. So I commented back to the commenter. I said, have you ever heard of the word deception? Of course. The Satanists deceive. That's what they do. Just like if you're a Christian, you're supposed to love. The Satanists are not supposed to love. They're supposed to deceive. To deceive is to hate. The Satanists and these demon beings, Baal, Moloch, and all the other names, do the opposite of what God commands, like what God is doing to the Jewish people here in Jeremiah a few thousand years ago. And you got people being possessed all over the world. Brazil, China, Ireland, Italy, requesting the Vatican more exorcists. The United States, Ohio. So who doesn't want to believe this stuff? A lot of people probably don't want to believe it. I don't know why this computer's not wanting to focus. This camera. There we go. Dozens of children from Elsa Pereira Flores School in Peru. An outbreak of contagious demonic possession. I don't make this stuff. I just research and report. So you got all these serpent symbols with Freemasons and Rosicrucian and New Age and the six-pointed star. And even on Miley Cyrus cartoons. This is what children watch. I want to say that again. This is what children watch. Even Miley Cyrus's father satanic ritual abuse, multi-personality disorder. I guess a lot of us heard about this. But anyways, Miley Cyrus's father said to GQ magazine he was concerned about her and the satanic influences of Hollywood. So who controls Hollywood? Rhetorical question. They even have a book that the Jews control Hollywood. Anyways, they bring us this kinds of activity, statues of Satan. So there really is, and it permeates even the Rainbow Coalition. You got this guy. I bet hell is fabulous. This guy says that she's apparently possessed. There's Billy Ray Cyrus in GQ magazine saying he's afraid of the satanic influences of Hollywood on his daughter. And she keeps her tongue out like Shiva, obviously some kind of possession, has her hair done up in the horns. And the statue of Baal, the Satan statue of the devil in Detroit. Is this normal? Is this what we want? Is something wrong? So who are these demonic beings with the goat head, the bird head, the lion head, the six-pointed star? The greatest mystery of earth revealed, Ezekiel's wheel unveiled. You can go look this stuff up. That's why I make these videos. You got the keywords, go look them up. So back to Jeremiah. So far we've learned that the Lord has spoken to Jeremiah, advising the king of Judea that the Babylonians were coming, King Nebuchadnezzar, and that Judaism or Jerusalem and Judea, the buildings would be destroyed, the people killed or taken as slaves because they were worshiping Baal. And we see they're putting all these Baal symbols in our reality now, even those archways in New York and London, 1,000 of them all over the United States and the world. Do you think there's a connection? I'm reading the Bible. Am I supposed to believe what's in the Bible? I watch the videos. I watch the newspapers. We know they're putting up the archway of Baal in New York and London and 1,000 other places all over the world. Should the two be connected? Should we take both of these into account? The Bible. What happened to the Jewish people 3,000 or 4,000 years ago? Why the Lord would speak to Jeremiah, saying that he was sending the Babylonian king down there to destroy their kingdom because they were not obeying God's laws and they were worshiping Baal. Back to the book. Because all of the evil of the children of Israel, and remember, these are the people who apparently control our world today. That's why they brought us these archways of Baal. Apparently, they haven't changed their ways. Because of all the evil of the children of Israel and of the children of Judea, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings and their princes and their priests and their prophets and the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. I'm going to show you this because you just might not believe me. Hopefully you have a Bible. And you can go look it up. It's that paragraph that's not highlighted I just read. And they have turned unto me the back, and not the face. So they turned their backs to the Lord. Though I taught them, raising up early and teaching them, yet they have not hearkened to receive instruction. But they have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name to defile it. For they built up the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Moloch, which I commanded them not. Do you see that? And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Moloch, which I commanded them not. Neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. And now therefore, thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, concerning this city, whereof ye say it shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon, by the sword and by the famine and by the pestilence. This is in the Bible. So we find a new word here, Moloch. What's that got to do with current events? You know I have the pictures. So anyways, Alex Jones snuck into the Bohemian Grove, and there's Moloch. And a lot of our elite leaders are down there on the bottom. And at nighttime they have a big fire and they throw a baby in there called the cremation of care. Things that all people can verify. Moloch. And you have to give sacrifices unto Moloch. We've all heard about human sacrifices. We know that this religion is real. It's mentioned in the Bible. The symbols we can see all around us. This is not God. The New York City street plan looks like a giant owl. See if I can turn the side here so I can share. Moloch worship, Baal worship. You don't believe it's real? Please go look it up. Look at the Bohemian Grove. Look on the front of the $1 bill and see the tiny owl perched on one of the ones. Sandy Hook school shooting. Look at that news journalist who held up a picture of the owl. Look at the owls. The owl is the symbol of the goddess. So there is this religion or religions. And apparently because of worshiping these... Now here's another picture that's another story, but I'll share it. Apparently, when Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt, he went up to the mountain to talk to God. And when he came down the mountain, the Jews, the Hebrews, had gathered together all their gold and built that golden calf you see on the top of the picture and were worshiping it. That would be Moloch. And so Moses, you see the two tablets, he's throwing them down on the ground, smashing them. So 4,000 years ago, when Moses guided 4,000 plus or minus, the Jews out of Egypt, he smashed the tablets because they were worshiping Baal. And 1,000 or so years later, they're worshiping Baal and Moloch again. So he's having the king of Babylon over there in the Iraq area come down there with the Chaldeans and destroy the Hebrews, the Jerusalem, the kingdom of Judah, take everybody back as slaves. So they have to sacrifice unto this Moloch bull god. You can go look this up on their Yahoo image site, find these pictures, and there's links to the sites that show you all this stuff. But my point is, it's in the Old Testament. The story is told. Are we to believe it or not believe it? You have the pictures, you have the links, we have the symbols, we have the secret societies, and we have Israel controlling the world now again with the Illuminati and preparations for a global world order. Who would want to enslave the people and have been robbing us of our resources and destroying families? Bohemian Grove, Alex Jones, the little owl perched on the $1 bill. New York, D.C., Washington, D.C. street plan. Who is it they're worshiping? Dark Secrets of the Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones Productions. I'm not making any of this up. You can go look it all up. And Moloch is alternately described as an owl or the bull. So apparently it's a religion. It's mentioned here in Jeremiah. And the kingdom of Judea was destroyed 3,000 plus or minus years ago because of their repeated attempts to worship these demon gods instead of God. Apparently it was the religion of Egypt. And apparently the cow is a sacred symbol in India. So I've been doing my research. We've all seen the bull with the sun disk and the horns. In the Egyptian hieroglyphics, you'll see a lot of this. So some ancient deity that goes back that far. Even Isis has the disc and horns on her head, representing apparently Baal or Moloch. Their sons and daughters they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan. So I'm going to go back and read some more of the Bible. Now that we know why God did what he did 3,000 years ago, and today, apparently, this religion of Baal and Moloch is alive and well. Bohemian Grove, it's a huge symbol in Freemasonry, Illuminati, the Kabbalah, Baal, Moloch, part of the Kabbalist religion, also accused of sorcery. Got it? Get it? Apparently Alex Jones snuck into the Bohemian Grove and took the video. You can go watch it online free. Screaming and howling. It's actually too much to believe if you think about it. But it's in the Bible. And it goes back. Apparently throughout history, there's a lot of secret societies and elites. Look at the old Indiana Jones movies and their rituals. They're telling us. Look at the all-seeing eye on Moloch's head. And the suns and the rays disk behind it, worshiping the sun god. You get it? Got it? Feeding humans to Moloch. Apparently, according to some videos, even Deborah Travers was saying it today in one of her recent videos. A lot of homeless people and other people are being abducted and disappeared and being used in sacrifices these days. This is all current news. Deborah Travers' most recent video. Jordan Maxwell said that to Jeff Rentz on his video recently. Jeff Rentz asked innocently to Jordan, "You don't really think they're sacrificing people these days?" And Jordan Maxwell says, in the hills around here, and in these private communities, they're sacrificing children and humans every day. Here's that picture on the $1 bill. You can just look on the one, excuse me. And you can look on top of that one and you'll see the little owl. And of course another Freemasonic organization uses the owl. Moloch. Judea, the kingdom of Judea, the Jews back then 3,000 years ago were all destroyed and taken into captivity because it says here in the Bible and that they refused to not worship this being. They were worshiping it. And if you go to many of your major cities, in downtown Orlando and all major cities, Nashville, look at your city buildings, your big ones, and you'll see the tops of the buildings look like owls. This is the bank building in Texas. And I've driven through many cities on the interstates and looked over, and the tops of the buildings look like pyramids or owls. Here's a commentator wearing a little owl pin. Manzulli on leaving Manny Academy. It was a mutual decision. He's wearing the little owl. That's another symbol for one of the Masonic organizations, the BC Owl. Weaving spiders come not here. 1872 to 1909, 1933, one of the Masonic buildings. Washington, D.C., street plan. On the lamppost, I was walking in Washington, D.C. a couple years ago. And if you'll see these little signs with directions to the subway system or whatever, and they'll have this picture of the owl with the street names. So they're mocking us with this religion of Moloch and Baal. Look at the all-seeing eye on his chest. And the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill. The eye of Moloch. And a lot of the buildings, the symbols, the bull out there in front of the financial district in New York. Moloch. The six-pointed star on the Israeli flag. Moloch. It's in the Bible here. This is the news commenter who put up the picture of the owl during the Sandy Hook school shooting. They're telling us they didn't put up an owl for nothing. That was an event orchestrated by the worshippers of Moloch. 4,000 years ago, when Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt and he went up to the mountain Sinai to talk to God and get the 10 Commandments, what were the Hebrews doing, the Jews doing? And then Moses came down the mountain and smashed the tablets. 4,000 years ago. And then 3,000 years ago, they're doing it again, so the Lord sends the king of Babylonia, Nebuchadnezzar, to destroy Judea. Where are we today? We have President Donald Trump helping rebuild King Solomon's third temple, so they put his face on the coin, with the ancient King Cyrus, who helped the Jews rebuild the King Solomon temple the second time. So apparently President Donald Trump's going to help them build it the third time. These are shekels. And apparently with this New World religion, when they bring it back, people are going to be required to make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, to the King Solomon's temple, and you have to have a half shekel. So you might have a coin with Donald Trump's head on it. Half shekel. People don't want to believe this stuff is true. Let me get back to the Bible. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whether I have driven them in my anger, and in my fury, and in great wrath. So they're worshiping Baal and Moloch today, bringing us symbols all over the planet with the archways, and the picture during Sandy school shooting, and the symbols everywhere else if you start looking for it. And they shall, let's see, I have driven them in my anger and in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again into this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. So apparently the Lord has given the Jewish people several chances after punishing them for what they did. Apparently, when Moses came down the mountain and they had built the golden statue and were having a drunken orgy ritual, he smashed the tablets, and they had to wander the desert for 40 years as punishment. Back then, 4,000 years ago, plus or minus. So 3,000 years, plus or minus, when God sent the king of Babylon to destroy Judea for the same thing. And he was going to forgive them again. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me. So he wants to put his fear in their hearts, fear of him in their hearts, so they won't do it again. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. That's the Lord speaking. For thus saith the Lord, like as I have brought all this great evil upon my people, this people, so I will bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. So the Lord has brought the evil and the good unto the Judean people a couple times. And the fields shall be brought in this land, whereof ye say it is desolate, without man or beast. It is given unto the hand of the Chaldeans. Men shall buy fields for money, and subscribe evidence, and seal them, and take witnesses in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judea, and the cities of the mountains, and the cities of the valley, and the cities of the south. For I will cause their captivity to return, saith the Lord. All right, I'll read on here, chapter 33, page 538. Just a little bit of understanding of the history of these Hebrews, Jewish people back then, and what they did to invoke God's anger and wrath. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the second time, while he was yet shut up in the court of prison, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the maker thereof, the Lord that formed it, to establish it, the Lord is his name. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and many things which thou knowest not. For thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, concerning the houses of this city, and concerning the houses of the kings of Judea, which are thrown down by the mounts and by the sword. They come to fight with the Chaldeans, but it is to fill them with the dead bodies of men, whom I have slain in my anger and in my fury. For all those wickedness I have hid my face from this city. Behold, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them, and will reveal unto them the abundance of peace and truth. And I will cause the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel to return, and will build them as at the first. And I will cleanse them from all their iniquity, whereby they have sinned against me. And I will pardon all their iniquities, whereby they have sinned, and whereby they have transgressed against me. And it shall be to me a name of joy, a praise, and an honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them, and they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. So I know a lot of people don't know what to believe. Believing in God and the spirit world. But at least when you read the Bible, you can get some kind of clue and try to make up your own mind what you want to believe. And like I said, I made all those videos, about 10 2-hour videos on the New Testament and 3 2-hour videos on the book of Revelation in the New Testament. So this is my first stab at the Old Testament. And it is a little bit revealing about the symbols we see in our society with the archways of Baal and the goings-on in the Bohemian Grove and the Washington, D.C. Street plan and the owl on TV and the symbolisms in the secret societies and the six-pointed star. You start to see these common denominators. Thus saith the Lord, again, there shall be heard in this place, which ye say, shall be desolate without man and without beast, even in the cities of Judea, and in the streets of Jerusalem that are desolate without men and without inhabitants and without beast. So Judea was going to be destroyed. The voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, praise the Lord of hosts. For the Lord is good, for his mercy endureth forever. And of them that shall bring the sacrifice of praise unto the house of the Lord. For I will cause to return the captivity of the land, as at the first, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, again in this place, which is desolate without man and without beast, and all the cities thereof shall be a habitation of shepherds causing their flocks to lie down. Now I have to ask a question. We know what the social conditioning is doing to societies today. I've showed the pictures, the people dressing up like demons and witches and stuff like that. And being taught to do the abominations that are in the Bible. The transsexual, pansexual abominations and everything else. Is it possible that people know that it will bring on the wrath of God if the people do that? Which means that we citizens, like let's say here in the United States, probably Europe, if we follow these New Age teachings and these anti-Christian teachings and go along with this Baal or Moloch, type teachings, will it bring on the wrath of God? And is that their intention? Are these evil forces that smart, knowing that we'll all be tempted into this drunken party on earth? Super Bowl coming up, street festivals, and all kinds of other things, and people making money in the stock market, flipping houses, everybody living in opulence and not caring about other people. Will it bring on the wrath of God? And I'm reading the Old Testament and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not trying to preach, but why are they doing this? Why would they put up those archways? Why would they have the Bohemian Grove? Why would they have all those owl symbols? Why would this be in the book of Jeremiah? Should we believe it? Something's certainly up. In the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the vale, and the cities of the south, and in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, shall the flocks pass again under the hands of him that telleth them, saith the Lord. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will perform the good things that I have promised unto the house of Israel, and unto the house of Judea. In those days and at that time I will cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely, and this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Neither shall the priest of the Levites want a man before me to offer burnt offerings, to kindle meat offerings, and to do sacrifices continually. And the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, if ye can break my covenant of the day, and my covenant of the night, that there should not be the day and night of their seasons, then may also my covenant be broken with David. So the Lord here is saying to Jeremiah to tell them, if you break my covenants that I've made with you, if you break the covenants I told you, then I will break the covenant I have with you. So if they don't obey God's laws and the agreement, the covenant, then he is going to break his agreement and his covenant. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, saying, Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, The two families which the Lord hath chosen, he hath even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith the Lord, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinance of heaven and earth, then I will cast away the seed of Jacob and David, my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So remember, apparently there were 12 tribes of Israel. So the rest of us, you watching my video right now, I don't care if you're from Ireland, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Bolivia, wherever. Are we all from the seeds of Adam and Eve, and later on from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And there's just this one tribe, that's the bad tribe, the tribe of Judah, now called Israel. I'm thinking out loud here, I'm asking questions, because we're all derived from the same creation, according to the Bible, Adam and Eve. And then I'm remembering the Rosicrucian teachings that the Lord put Sataniel on the planet first, created Eve. They had a son named Cain. This is Rosicrucian teachings, an association of the Freemasons, Kabbalists, and all these other secret societies. Anyways, this Sataniel, Satan character, half divine, half human, got bored with Earth and Eve and his child and went back into the heavens. And so God felt sorry for Eve, created Adam. They had a second child, Abel. And Cain was jealous of Abel, so slew him. The first murderer was Cain, the son of Sataniel, Satan, the divine being. So they had another son, Seth. So the lineages of we humans are either from Seth or Cain. Good and evil. Human and human, or human and divine. It's in the Rosicrucian teachings. You can go watch my videos and see all that. Look it up for yourself. Read the books. But you got to put on your thinking cap. Use a little discernment. What does this stuff mean? That's why I make so many videos and pick this stuff apart piece by piece, discussing each sentence and word. Because the only way I think I can learn it is just taking my time. All right, chapter 34. I'm almost finished with what I wanted to read for this video. The word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord, when Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army, and all the kingdoms of the earth, of his dominion, and all the people fought against Jerusalem. I'm going to read that again. When Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army, and all the kingdoms of earth, and his dominion, and all the people fought against Jerusalem. So the people of the entire known world back then were fighting against Jerusalem and against all the cities thereof, saying, Thus saith the Lord, God of Israel, go and speak to Zedekiah, king of Judah, and tell him, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn it with fire. So the Lord is instructing the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, to burn Jerusalem, the Judean kingdom, with fire, to destroy it all, and take the inhabitants as slaves, prisoners. And why? I read here earlier, provoking him to anger, offering incense to Baal, worshiping, pouring out drink offerings, and passing their daughters and sons to the fire of Moloch, sacrificing their children to the demon Moloch. In the Bible here, page 538, King James Version, Old Testament, Jeremiah. And thou shalt not escape out of his hand, but shall surely be taken and delivered into his hand, and thy eyes shall behold the eyes of the king of Babylon, and he shall speak with thee mouth to mouth, and thou shalt go to Babylon. If my voice is a little different today, it's because I'm getting over a cold. Yet hear the word of the Lord, O Zedekiah, king of Judah. Thus saith the Lord of thee, Thou shalt not die by the sword, but thou shalt die in peace, and with the burnings of thy fathers, the former kings which were before thee. So shall thy burn odors before thee, and they will lament thee, saying, Ah, Lord, for I have pronounced the word, saith the Lord. Then Jeremiah the prophet spoke all these words unto Zedekiah king of Judea in Jerusalem. When the king of Babylonians' army fought and against Jerusalem, and remember, President Donald Trump announced that the United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and the United States moved its embassy to Jerusalem, as well as many other countries moving their embassies to Jerusalem. Something big is taking place. What do you suspect it has anything to do with what I'm reading in the Old Testament? Just like in baseball, strike three, you're out. So this will be the third time they rebuild King Solomon's temple. And it looks like they're still worshiping Moloch and Baal. And so much more evil activities going on in our world. Microwave transmitter systems, toxic in the foods, and poisons in the water, and fluoride, and so much more. Preparations for some world revolution. Does it have anything to do with the Bible? So Jeremiah the prophet spoke these words unto Zedekiah king of Judah in Israel, Jerusalem. All right, let's see if I can wrap this video up. When the king of Babylon's army fought against Jerusalem and against the cities of Judah that were left, against Lachish and against Ascah, for these defenced cities remained the cities of Judah. This is the word that came unto Jeremiah from the Lord. After that, the king of Zedekiah had made a covenant with all the people which were at Jerusalem to proclaim liberty unto them, that every man should let his manservant and every man his maidservant I had to blow up my screen there. It was minimized. So the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah to the king of Zedekiah, had made a covenant with all the people that were at Jerusalem to proclaim liberty unto them. So apparently the Lord instructed the king of Judea, Zedekiah, to release all their slaves. Listen to this. Liberty unto them, that every man should let his manservants and every man his maidservants, being in Hebrew or Hebrewess, go free. So they were supposed to let all of their Hebrew man or women servants go free. That none should serve himself of them, to wit, of a Jew his brother. Now when all the priests and all the people which had entered into the covenant heard that every one should let his manservant and every one his maidservant go free, that none should serve themselves of them any more, then they obeyed and let them go. So apparently the Lord, through Jeremiah, told the king, who told the people, release all of your man and women servants. And apparently they let them go. But afterwards, they turned and caused the servants and handmaids, whom they let go free, to return, and brought them into subjection for servants and for handmaids. So after they let them free, because of the covenant with God to the king Zechariah, they went and got their slaves back. You suppose that would make the Lord angry? Therefore the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and out of the house of the bondman, saying, At the end of 7 years, let go every man his brother in Hebrew, which had been sold unto thee, and when he had served 36 years, thou shalt let him go free from thee. But your fathers hearkened not unto me, neither inclined their ear. And ye were now turned, and had done right in my sight, in proclaiming liberty every man to his neighbor, and had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. So the Lord is saying, when you release them, you proclaiming liberty, you did the right thing. But ye turned and polluted my name, and caused every man his servant and every man his handmaid, whom he had set at liberty, at their pleasure, to return, and brought them into subjection, to be unto you for servants and handmaids. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, ye have not hearkened unto me in proclaiming liberty, every one. Gotta turn the page here. His brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, saith the Lord, to the sword, and to the pestilence, and to the famine. I will make you to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. So the Lord's going to punish them again. And I will give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant, which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in twain, and passed between the parts thereof. The princes of Judah, and the princes of Jerusalem, the eunuchs, the priest, and all the people of the land, which passed between the parts of the calf. I will even give them into the hand of their enemies. So the Lord is going to give them into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life. And their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of the heaven, and to the beasts of the earth. So they're all going to be killed, and the birds, the scavengers, and the hyenas, and the beasts of the earth, whatever, I guess they're going to eat them. And Zedekiah, king of Judea, and his princes will I give into the hand of thy enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life, and into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which are gone up from you. Behold, I will command, saith the Lord, and cause them to return to this city, and they shall fight against it, and take it, and burn it with fire, and I will make the cities of Judea a desolate without an inhabitant. Son of a gun. So much for my little lesson on the Old Testament and the activities of the Hebrews, the Jews, continually not to obey the covenants they made with the Lord, and worshiping Baal and Moloch. So that was chapter 34 and up to 32. So that was just a couple chapters, and I read everything prior to that. So I have another 13 or 14 pages to read. So maybe I'll read it and see if I can find some more nuggets I want to share. There was a lot of other information in here. Let me just go back and see if I have some red highlighted information. Chapter 29, it says here, For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, let not your prophets or your diviners, people into magic, that be in the midst of you, deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams, which ye have caused to dream, for they prophesy falsely, and unto you in my name. I'm just going backwards now, looking at things that I highlighted and read that when I was reading this. Chapter 27, number 9. Therefore hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. So the Lord is giving instructions through Jeremiah, the prophet. Number 15 on 27, I highlighted in red. For I have not sent them, saith the Lord, yet they prophesy a lie in my name. So there's all these prophets prophesying, and the Lord saying, I did not send them. And a lot of people today, I'm aware, who say, I hear voices, or I think an angel's talking to me. And I tell people, you don't know who that entity or being might be, the channelers, the mediums, the psychics. Just saying. That I might drive you out, and that ye may perish. So they're hearkening unto these prophets who the Lord said he didn't send, and they're going to be punished for that. 26, number 8 says, I made a little underline. Now it came to pass, when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking all that the Lord had commanded him to speak unto all the people, that the priests and the prophets and all the people took him, saying, Thou shalt surely die. So when I was reading that, I thought about the teachings from Jesus, and they crucified him. The people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear, apparently. Has any of that changed today? And I'm not a big fan of the Old Testament. I think the New Testament applies to Christians. But it is interesting to learn about the Jewish Bible and religion and the things that happened. I guess history repeats itself. What we don't know might hurt us. Seeking the truth is probably important. This is number 25. I made some notes here. They say, Turn ye again every one from his evil way, and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that the Lord had given you, and to your fathers forever and ever. And go not after other gods, to serve them, to worship them, to provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt. So the Lord's saying, don't break my laws, and I won't harm you. 23, number 25, I highlighted. I have heard what the prophet said, that prophecies lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. And it says here, the next thing I highlighted, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. So apparently they forgot God, and they were worshiping Baal in chapter 23, 27. 23:13. And I have seen the folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal and caused my people Israel to err. They are all of them unto me as Sodom and the inhabitants thereof of Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember in the Bible, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for the activities into sodomy. All right, let's see what else I highlighted, because I told you I read all this. It took me a week. I could only do 2 or 3 pages at a time. It's kind of intense. Now Pashur, the son of Emor the priest, who was also the chief governor in the house of the Lord, heard that Jeremiah prophesied these things. Then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet. So I guess he smacked him. And put him in stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was the house of the Lord. So people did not want to listen to Jeremiah and these messages from the Lord. All right, 19:5 here. I'm going backwards into the things I highlighted. It says here, they have built also a high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal. Burn their sons? They were sacrificing their sons to Baal? That's what it says here. I suppose I better show you. There we go. Center of the video. Oh boy. And then they put the archways of Baal in New York, London, and 1,000 of them all over the planet. What is up? Oh, number 13, I highlighted something. Because of all the houses upon whose roof they have gone and burned incense unto all the host of heaven, and have poured out drinks offering unto other gods. All right, we're getting there. 17:10. I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruits of his doings. Well, that makes sense. So apparently in the Lord's Prayer, lead me not into temptation and deliver me from evil. So apparently, while we're alive on this planet, we're going to be tried to see who we are. Tempted, I guess you could call it. And if you get caught up in evil and you say the Lord's Prayer, you want to be delivered from evil if you're caught up in that trap. I've been trying to understand this stuff. 16:10. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? What is our iniquity, and what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God? All right, 14:22. Are there any among the vanities of the Gentiles, that would be non-Jews, that can cause rain? Or can the heavens give showers? Art not thou he, O Lord, O God? Wherefore, therefore, we will wait upon thee, for thou hast made all these things. And I'm reminded these days, with advanced technologies, apparently they are controlling the weather and destroying our reality and polluting the ground and the water and the animals. And I guess if all this biblical stuff is true, there's going to be a day of reckoning coming. It will evoke the wrath of God. Anyways, 14:14, it says here, then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. I send them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spoke unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught, and a deceit of their heart. And I'm reminded of all this channeled material, all these people who believe in all these people who say they're communicating with these other beings, the Palladians. the Anunnakians, the Vedas, Greys, reptilians, all these aliens, Galactic Federation. What's the truth? 12:17. But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, saith the Lord. 12:17. Going backwards here on Jeremiah towards the beginning, up to chapter 11 now. And for according to the number of thy cities were thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem, ye have set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense unto Baal, B-A-A-L. Number 9:14, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Baalim, that's another demon, B-A-A-L-I-M, with their fathers taught them. Baalim, Baal, Moloch. Seems like we're not supposed to worship those demon gods. Of course, the Ten Commandments, the first commandment is there shall be only one God. All right, 7:31, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came into my heart. Wow, I want to read that portion I didn't highlight also. 31, chapter 7. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnon. So they built a high place, probably a pyramidal structure, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not. Human sacrifice. So much for reading the Old Testament here. Let's see. Chapter 6, 19. And again, I'll just show you what I did here. There's a few places I underline. Oops, there you go. That's how I do it when I'm reading. Certain things pique my interest. So number 6:19. Hear, O earth. Behold, I will bring evil upon the people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my word, nor to my law, but rejected it. So people who are learning from this New Age material and believing they are gods, ye are as gods, don't have to believe in the Bible, don't believe in the Ten Commandments, do whatever you want to do. This is what's in the Old Testament. 5:8. They were as fed horses in the morning. Everyone neighed after his neighbor's wife. So they were like neighing horses, chasing their neighbor's wife. Wow. Chapter 4, number 7 I highlighted. The lion is come up from the thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and all the cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. I highlighted number 11. A dry wind of the high places in the wilderness towards the daughter of my people, not to fan, nor not to cleanse. Even a full wind from these places shall not come unto me. No, now also will I give sentence against them. So I guess Lord can control the wind. Return, ye backsliding children. 3, number 22. And I will heal your backsliding. So I guess if we take this on an individual basis, even though we are sinners, again, I'm not trying to be a preacher. I'm concerned about this pursuit by these elites for a global world order and their propaganda and social conditioning so people don't want to believe in God. So I thought I might want to read some of the Old Testament. Was watching some other people's videos like No More News and other people's. And it piqued my interest to pursue this particular topic for series 250 in my Freemasonry and Satanism series, part 1. Chapter 3, number 3. Therefore the showers have been withholden, and there hath been no later rain, and there hath a whore's forehead thou refusest to be ashamed. So I guess if people want to act like a whore's forehead or whatever, or God withholds the rain, the people don't want to be ashamed. So that just does make us be aware. The powers that be, the evil forces controlling the weather and so much more. God is mightier than them, in my opinion. And you can see what happens here when they do invoke the wrath of the Lord. Thou which backsliding Israel hath done, number 6, chapter 3, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it, number 7. Number 8, and I saw when they all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. So apparently the Lord was divorcing Israel for her adultery behavior. Number 2:23, how canst thou say, I am not polluted, I have not gone after Baalim. So Baalim is another demon god like Baal or Moloch. And the Lord is saying to Jeremiah, chapter 2:23, how canst thou say, I have not polluted? So they know they went after Baalim. And I'm up to almost finished here. Chapter 2, I highlighted, hear ye the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. That's number 4, chapter 2. Number 8, and the prophets prophesied by Baal, B-A-A-L, and walked after things that do not profit. All right, so there you go. I guess I'll close this little video with a short reminder that the powers that be did put these archways of Baal in New York and London, and later on through UNESCO, the United Nations, 1,000 of them all over the world at our expenses. We've seen all the satanic symbols. We know that apparently they're into Moloch worship and Baal worship, and we see what was said in the Bible, Jeremiah, 3,000 plus or minus years ago. Possession is on the rise on the planet. We are spiritual beings. Plenty of evidence, many different countries. They unveil statues to the devil. The citizens all go and celebrate. Would you say we're in trouble? Or is that putting it mildly? Thank you for watching my video, Rick Miracle reporting.